One financial decision can stick with you for years. From buying cars they can't afford, credit card mistakes, gambling, loans, and many more. These stories are proof that money mistakes can add up. Check out these clips of real people with real financial mistakes. Please subscribe, like, and comment below. It helps the algorithm so I can bring more content to you. Thank you.
Arguably one of the worst financial decisions I have made in my 20s is getting an Amex card. If you don't know what that is, it's a charge card, meaning you have to pay the full balance at the end of every month, right? And so the money, like, because I use my Amex for everything because I'm gonna get my points, you know what I'm saying? But you don't see the actual money coming out of your actual, like, Wells Fargo, Chase, whatever bank account. And so I'd be spending, and I'm like, I'm so good with money, right? And then the statement comes out and it says due $2,500. Or what? Who was spending all that? And then I look at what I spend. It's like Whole Foods, Sephora, blah blah blah, and I'm like those things in my mind don't come up to that because I don't see it. But at the end of every month, $2,000, $3,000 are like do not get an Amex charge card. I'm serious.
What's the worst financial decision you've ever made? Because some people would say that mine is investing money into an apartment that I don't own, but actually the worst financial decision I ever made was taking all of the Bitcoin that I had in Robinhood, selling it, and then rebuying it in Celsius a few years ago, because Celsius, if you stored your Bitcoin on their app, they would pay you interest weekly because they would take your Bitcoin and lend it out to people and pay you interest on top of that, split their earnings with you. So at one point I was making $700 a week just by having my Bitcoin in there. And I continued to buy Bitcoin because Bitcoin is going up and I was so excited and I was making all this money off it. And I was like, this is so great, I'm gonna have so much money. But you know what they say? Not your keys, not your Bitcoin. If you store your crypto on a third-party app, it doesn't actually fully belong to you. Things can happen. And I knew that things could happen. So anyway, Celsius filed for bankruptcy. They've paused transfers for most people indefinitely. I cannot get my money out. I have more than a full Bitcoin in there. I was so proud of myself when I worked my way up to a full Bitcoin. It took me a few years, but I got there, and now that money isn't mine anymore, and you just have to laugh. This is why. Never invest more money than you can stand to lose. I mean, that's a lot of money, but at this point, I just have to laugh.
Okay, so finance question of the day. What is one of the craziest financial mistakes that you have made? For me, when I was in my 20s, I moved to a different state with only $800. After I got to that state, the next day, I chose to trade in my almost paid off truck, which I was thinking my car note was only like $150, and I only had $2,500 left before it was paid off. I traded it in for a more expensive truck because I thought I deserved a new truck since I was in a new state. A more expensive truck to where it bumped my car note up to $480 for a 6-year term with a 15% interest rate. Crazy. Like, that was the dumbest thing ever. It was already risky moving to a state with only $100, but then to not only that just wasn't enough. I had to go in and add more salt to the injury by going to get another expense, a higher expense truck. But I have since learned from that. I think a year or two after that, I knew I had to make some changes, and that's when I started my debt-free journey, and life has been great ever since then. Like, learned so much since then, but that was a wild time. But yeah, what has been one of the craziest financial mistakes you have done and learned from?
My worst financial decisions was keeping up with the Joneses like everybody else. If you're making 200 grand, most salespeople are spending 200 grand. Listen, if you could be disciplined, suck the sour and get to the sweet. Keep the money in your bank right now, grow, learn, invest in yourself instead of investing in the Gucci, the car, trying to be like everybody else, like pretend like you're a baller when you're really not, and really just invest in yourself and in your infrastructure of who you are. 2-3 years from now, you'll be above all of those people. I was a guy that was making $200,000, $300,000, like as my life scaled, and I was spending every bit of it trying to be somebody that I really wasn't. Listen, if I could go back to those times, I would be the guy that was making 200 grand that was saving 150 grand of it. Like literally living broke so that way one day I could be actually truly rich. And that's what I'm doing now.
My biggest financial regret from this past year is spending $1,500 on this brand new MacBook Air M4 15-inch model. And let me tell you the 3 reasons why. First of all, I thought that I was buying a gray MacBook, and it turns out that this is blue. That's actually my first ever video that got any kind of traction on this app, was posting about how I thought this was gray, and it turned out to be blue. But second off, I thought, I'm paying either $1,300 or $1,500 for either the 13 or 15-inch MacBook. I was thinking, let me just get more material for what I'm paying for. Like, if I'm going to spend $1,300, I want to get more out of it, so let me pay an extra $200 to get a bigger screen. And it's a MacBook Air, so like it's still going to be very light. And that's true, it is very light, and I do have a much bigger screen for watching movies and YouTube videos and stuff like that. But it is kind of a nuisance to carry around and to set up shop everywhere. Like, it makes it kind of a lot less portable than a laptop should be. And lastly, I thought that I was going to be editing videos on this all the time, but it turns out to actually hold myself accountable to post these videos. If I had to actually get on my laptop and make all the edits on there, I would never do it. So I actually make all my edits in the TikTok app. So yeah, things you learn.
I owe TJ Maxx $9,562.30. Welcome to my new series where we expose Diva's bad financial decisions so that you can feel better about yours. Who is Diva? That's me. I'm the diva of bad financial decisions, or at least I used to be. Why am I exposing these? Because you've asked. And I'm trying to pay off my Affirm and Klarna loans.
Great news, sport. I actually got you approved of that 2009 F-250 out there. Only $11.99 a month. What do you say, man?
I don't know. I was kind of planning on moving out soon. What do you think I should do?
I mean, move out, buy a truck. I mean, look, I'm a car salesman, man, but let me give you my honest opinion off the record. How you gonna move your stuff if you don't have a truck, dude?
You're so right.
you gotta get the truck before you can move.
Okay,
right?
okay, I gotcha.
Exactly. You got any questions for me though before we wrap this up?
The $11.99 a month, that's no problem. I make $3,000 a month, so like
You make oh, dude, you're good.
that's less than half. Like,
it's not even half, dude.
Yeah, and
You're
I don't have the full $5,000 to put down. You guys take credit card?
dude, we can put the whole thing on a credit card.
$5,000. Oh, let's go. I'm gonna be perfect then.
Oh
Now,
man, we're gonna take care of you.
last question: does this include a warranty?
So I know we went over that, but the bank's not going to finance the warranty. But honestly, with only a little over 200,000 miles and you're only financing for 84 months, you don't even need a warranty because this thing's not going to give you any trouble. And then it'll be paid off and you'll be coming back to me for another one, So I won't even worry about that, dude. You'll be golden, trust me.
I mean, it does only have 200,000 miles. I should be fine,
That's nothing
right?
for an F-250, bro.
Cool.
All right, so if you don't have any more questions for me, just sign there. We'll get it wrapped up today.
Let's do this.
Sucker. Congratulations.
Wait, what did he say?
I won $100,000 after winning America's Next Top Model in 2017, and here is the story of my biggest financial mistake of my life. So after I won the show, they actually gave me a check for $100,000. Boom, baby, I'm rich. And for some reason, my little itty-bitty undeveloped brain thought that meant it was $100,000 post-tax. Like, they obviously already took out the game show tax because I got a check for $100,000. Newsflash, not the case. So anyways, I go and spend the $100,000. I paid $60,000 for an apartment in New York, but I had a roommate paying me back, and then I subleased it, and they paid me back. Anyways, it wasn't that horrible of an investment, but obviously not the smartest thing I could have done. And then the rest of the money I spent taking my family on, like, nice dinners, and I bought one pair of shoes, and anyways, I spent the entire $100,000. I also got a car. Like, yeah, I spent the money, okay? What I should have done was put aside 35 to 40% of the money for taxes so that I'd be ready to pay that. But I didn't do that. I spent it all. And so I spent the next several years paying back the money in taxes to the IRS. Whenever you watch a game show and you see like, oh my God, they won $10,000 or they won a new car or whatever it is, just take that with a grain of salt, because not only are they going to be taxed on the actual cashola that they bring home, but like when you get a free car, you don't really get a free car. You have to pay the taxes and then all the other things that come with winning a prize on television. For the $1 million that you win on Survivor, you probably got to pay like $400,000 in taxes. That's nuts. But anyways, anytime I talk about this, people always freak out and they're like, oh my God, you're such an idiot. It's like, yeah, I was kind of an idiot. That's why I'm making this video in hindsight, okay? Lesson learned, and yeah, always prepare for taxes, everyone.
Now, as some of you may know, about this time last year, I bought a Toyota Chaser. Obviously, I didn't buy that on apprenticeship wages. So what I did was start going for a loan. Look, my bank didn't want to give me a loan for the amount I was looking for, so I ended up going to a finance company. You know, obviously, when it comes to finance companies and getting your own personal loans, comes with an interest rate. And with my credit score, they told me I could get a $36,000 loan with a 15% interest rate. Now, after that, I started looking at $40,000 cars and I thought I'd just lowball them. So within a week, I'd found a Chaser I liked, hit my finance company up, everything went through, boom, $36,000 loan, 15% interest rate, and I was a new owner of a Toyota Chaser. Within a week of buying that Toyota Chaser, or two, after a few payments had come out, I was like, this, what have I done? I ended up selling that same Chaser for $32,500 about 2-3 weeks after buying it, and I was now $7,500 in debt. Now, I was super relieved that I had actually sold the Chaser, but at the same time, I now have a massive debt on me. Now, at the same time that this was all happening, I took a pretty big break off social media and went back to my 9-to-5 job tiling. And after working there for a little bit, I was informed that I need to get a work ute so I could obviously get around from job to job. So me being me, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get another massive loan and spending a bunch of money. So I called up the finance guy again, $30,000, this time 18% interest rate. Boom, awesome. Within a week after that, I had brought a new Toyota Hilux 2015 with the remaining $6,000. I just did it up, anything that needed to be replaced. Bang, $30,000. I had now done another $36,000 loan.
All right, sir, so I got two approvals for you. One, for the Civic, you're looking at a 10% interest rate. For your Challenger, you're actually at a 25% interest rate. I would highly recommend you stick with the lower interest rate.
Civic, though, versus the Challenger? The Challenger is going to get me, a lot more attention. The girl's going to like me more. I just know it. That was my gym car.
It's only a V6, but maybe.
I get it. I don't know. I think I want to do the Challenger because it just looks cooler. It's going to be faster down the road, and I can race more people, so.
Well, yeah, but you're going to be paying 25% interest rate, sir. You're going to be paying, twice as much as the Honda over time.
Okay, but which one's going to be more reliable? The Dodge, right?
No, definitely the Honda, I think. Especially if you're going to be racing in this, definitely not going to help your case.
I got decisions to make. I don't know, man. Yeah, forget that. There we go. Yeah, go ahead and get my Challenger cleaned up. I'm going to take that one.
All right, if that's what you want, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, great.
I'm 29 years old and I have $17,546 of debt. $15,217 of those dollars are from credit cards and $2,319 from my car. And you guys are probably wondering why I'm sharing that, because it can be pretty embarrassing.
I owned this car for literally one day. Okay, you guys, the past 2 days of my life have been so insanely stressful, and let me tell you why. So I bought my car. Woohoo! Yay! I didn't even get to really enjoy it because the financing and all of the contracting part, they fucked me so hard. They messed me up so hard. I didn't realize how bad the refinancing contract was. Blase, blase, blase. I didn't realize any of these things until, of course, I call my father and I tell him I'm all excited. I'm like, oh, they did this and this, and my dad's like, what? Basically, they signed me up for gap insurance. Didn't need it. Honestly, guys, I can go back and forth about how shitty the contract was, but luckily there's a 2-day canceling contract fee. So instead of buying this car that I was so excited to do, I am no longer buying this car, and I'm here at Mercedes-Benz right now and I'm dropping it off. I owned this car for literally one day.
You're absolutely right. What the hell was I thinking financing a $78,000 car for 72 months, putting $10,000 down on it and paying $1,100 a month before purchasing a home? You're right. But I have no excuse other than my mindset since I was in my 20s has always been that you have to owe to have, and you just put it on a card. I can make the payment, so can't we afford it? And so now, since we've started this journey to pay off all of this debt and to right all of my wrongs, now my mindset has totally changed. And so I am looking for every way that I can get out of these very bad decisions, one, of course, top of the list is this car. And I'm trying, but my hands are tied. And unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to get out from underneath it. I think I'm going to have to continue to pay on it until we can do something else. I don't know.
My biggest financial regret that I've ever had in life was purchasing a home back in 2021 for these 3 reasons. Number one, I had to put a 30% down payment on my home. My down payment was roughly around $330,000. I bought my 2-bedroom, 3-bath townhome for $910,000. And the reason why we had to put so much down at the time was just because of my income. I was only making around, I think, $100,000 to $110,000. That was the only way we could get the math work. Now, my monthly mortgage payment, if you factor in interest, taxes, HOA, etc., it's roughly around $4,200. If I was renting right now, I could probably rent a really nice 2-bedroom condo or apartment for $3,500. So that would save me $700 a month. However, had I just not bought a home, I could have taken that $300,000 and $10,000, $20,000 that I used as a down payment and just invested in the stock market. We all know the stock market bottomed in 2022 and, man, you see where it is today, right? I could easily have an extra, at the very minimum, a couple $100,000 in my stock portfolio. Number two, in the market that I live in, renting is actually cheaper than buying a home. Again, as I previously stated, I probably am paying an extra, $700 to $1,000 more per month by owning a home rather than renting one. And then number three, owning a home is just really, really overrated. There's maintenance that you have to worry about. I've already had to replace an AC and my home is like 3 to 4 years old. So it's actually really, really new.
Here are the 2 worst financial mistakes I ever made. And this is coming from a normal person. I'm not super financially successful, but I'm also not a disconnected rich person who's going to tell you, well, after I sold my 6th property, then I didn't quite get the return on the 7th property. No, it's nothing like that. For people that are closer to my situation, you're starting to have some money that you're looking to save up or invest or whatever. These are 2 of the worst mistakes I ever made. Number 1, sports gambling. Don't do it. The only way I can tell you it's okay to sports gamble is if you have a healthy relationship with gambling. And that is that you can put the occasional small amount of money on a game to, just kind of have a good time with your friends or something like that. Gambling is an addiction just like any drug, just like anything else. But instead of hurting your body or your brain, it's going to kill your bank account. It is a sickness. It will get into your brain and it will destroy your financial life way faster than you realize. All I did was lose. I would win a little bit, and then I would lose twice that amount until eventually I lost $12,000. So it's like alcohol. If you can maintain a very healthy, moderate relationship with it, then that's fine. But as soon as you understand that it's becoming a problem, as soon as you understand that it's becoming an addiction, you cannot do it. The second thing is another form of gambling, the stock market. And I'm not telling people not to invest in the stock market. You should absolutely, if you're able to, put money into the stock market. But don't fool yourself into thinking that you're going to become a day trader. That is a mistake that I made, like a lot of people in 2020. I thought, I'm going to become a day trader. I know a lot about stocks. Blah, blah, blah. No, I know nothing. There are people that dedicate their entire lives to studying financials, studying stocks, that are still wrong all the time. If you're one of those people that is your job is to study financial reports and understand companies, then that is when actual day trading makes sense. The mistake that I made is that all of my money the entire time should have been going into long-term index funds. What I did was I took a bunch of money, I put it into certain stocks. Some of them did all right, so I was like, I know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And then I put a bunch of money into other stocks and a bunch of them tanked, okay?
My name is Bradley. I went to culinary school and had no idea in the time I was getting my degree that I was completely ruining my life. Not knowing better, I went to the best of the best school thinking I would get the best of the best outcome. A week before graduating, the school sat me down and said, congratulations, you're about to finish your degree. You're now in $137,000 of student loan debt. My monthly payment before any government programs was about $1,400 a month. And I realized in that moment I had completely ruined my life. What made my story go from bad to worse is that that once I got into the industry with my degree, I was getting job offers for $12 to $14 an hour. From that moment on, my life completely spiraled. My mental health was completely destroyed. I developed a drinking problem. It got so bad at one point, I ended up in the hospital because I had no idea how to cope with the stress that I was under. The worst part of all of it was that I was 21 years old, drowning in debt, not making a lot of money with my degree, and I had to turn to adult work, if you know what I mean by adult work. It is so unfair that I thought I was doing the right thing for myself by getting a college education, by getting a college degree, by doing what everyone told me I should do, by doing what society told me I should do, only to then ruin my life and having to turn to adult work to survive. Because I was only able to just get by with the money I was making with my college degree, and my student loan payments were half my monthly income.